believe it. I had killed him. I felt like I was in a dream, trapped in a nightmare of my own making. I dragged Steve's body and the cat's body into the car, and I drove. I didn't know where I was going. The car hit the side of the cliff. I don't remember much after that. I just remember the crash, the pain, and then everything went black. I woke up in the hospital, my body bruised and broken. The police were there. They told me what had happened. Now I'm here, in prison, and I'm not sure if I regret anything. At least, Steve can't hurt me anymore. He won't be able to leave me. Lately, I had been waking up still exhausted. Even if I went to bed early, I would wake up feeling like I hadn't slept in days. Trying to get out of bed for work was almost impossible, which was strange for me because I was always a high-energy sort of person. A few hours of sleep, and I was always good to go. I was at a loss as to what was happening. After a barrage of tests, even my doctor couldn't find anything wrong with me. The only recent change in my life was my boyfriend, Steven, moving in, and for the first time in my life, I was sharing a bed. Steven was the first love of my life, and this was my first serious relationship. I didn't want to spoil things by making him sleep in the spare room. I liked having Steven around. He made a real fuss over me, and he would bring me chamomile tea every night before bed. One night, I woke up with sharp pain in my hip, which pulsed up the right side of my body. I jumped out of bed and nearly collapsed to the floor, struggling to get to the bathroom. I called for Steven to come in. When he arrived, I showed him the big dark bruise on my hip, which seemed as if I had been assaulted in my sleep with a metal bar. When I asked if I had fallen out of bed or something, Steven had a weird expression on his face. It looked as though he felt guilty about something, but he dismissed my concern, replying that it was probably nothing, and he didn't know. I felt that something wasn't right, so I expressed my concerns to him, saying that I thought something was wrong with me. He coldly suggested that I should see a doctor and quickly left the bathroom. After seeing my doctor, it was suggested that I should see someone who could rule out anything nefarious. Steven was still dismissive as we drove to the hospital. He reassured me that I was probably just stressed from work, but I thought to myself that people don't wake up with bruises just from stress. At the hospital, the doctor took my blood and ran several tests, including a stress test. When the results came back clear, I should have felt relieved, but instead, I felt like I was losing my mind. Something was definitely wrong with me. The doctor told me that he would prescribe me sedatives, but when he looked at my blood work, he pointed out that I was already on nitrazepam, a powerful sedative. I was dumbstruck and confused, as I had never taken any sedatives before. The doctor reviewed my charts again and confirmed that I had indeed tested positive for nitrazepam. That evening, I sat in bed, my mind racing with questions. How could this happen? As I sat there, Steven walked in with my chamomile tea. Just as I was about to take a sip, I was struck by a chilling thought, the realization that my boyfriend might be drugging me. It hit me like a ton of bricks, and a wave of dread washed over me. I quickly dumped the contents of the teacup down the sink in the bathroom before jumping back into bed. When Steven joined me in bed, he asked if the tea was hot enough for me, and I replied that it was perfect, as always. But inside, I felt as if I was lying next to a complete stranger. I couldn't help but wonder if I had ever truly known him. I lay there, terrified that he was doing unimaginable things to me while I slept. At some point, I must have drifted off to sleep. When I woke up, the room was a mess, and Steven was nowhere to be seen. My body ached all over, as if I had been in a fight. I began to question what he had been doing to me while I slept. I decided I had to go to the police, but I needed evidence. I purchased a hidden camera and set it up in the bedroom, aimed at the bed. The next morning, I woke up exhausted, which, unfortunately, meant that something had happened to me while I slept. But now I had the evidence on camera. I opened my laptop to check the footage. For the first couple of hours, nothing happened. For a moment, I hoped I was just imagining things. But then, I saw myself jolt from the bed. It felt like I was watching a horror movie as I crawled up the bedroom wall like a possessed demon. I crawled up onto the ceiling, looking down over Steven, ready to pounce on him. Steven woke up, and it was strange to watch him because he seemed prepared for what was happening, unfazed by it. He took a stick from under the bed as I pounced on him from above. He spent the next hour fighting me off,